Welcome back, Shop Rats. Today we're back on the Stitches Challenger and we're working on pulling the center chunk out of this B-body housing because it's got the good center chunk in it. And we're going to see what the gear is like and whether or not it's a posi. Just to clarify before we get into this video, because I know some of you are going to have a meltdown over a term that I use, and I want you to understand where I'm coming from. Back in the day when I was a kid, no matter what type of vehicle it was, Ford, Chevrolet, Dodge, if it had a shore grip, Positrack, track lock, whatever, and it was all a posi, and you laid posi marks on the road. So understand I'm using that as a term like Kleenex refers to every facial tissue on the planet, okay? So settle down. If I use the word posi, it's just a habit of over 40 years, and I know the difference, trust me, but I'm not legalistic about making sure that I use all the right terms. But I know some people might have a stroke over that, and I don't want to be responsible for your health problems. Well, I don't know what's in it, so we're going to find out. I know what I hope it is, but, well, anyway, let's just watch a show intro. I'll see you in about 30 seconds. I'm Mike, and this is My Car Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
Very good. It's what I remembered. If I remember right, this came out of a 71 to 73 B body. I don't know what the tag says here. Looks like it's a 321 or a 323 gear, if that tag is right, which there's no reason to doubt that it is. Whether or not it's a posi, one could hope. It is a 489 case, which means it's the biggest pinion bearing, which means it's the strongest, which means it's going to be perfect to put behind that big block in the Stitches Challenger. So we'll go ahead, I'll get you over here so you can see the numbers on just how to identify this. But yeah, that's what I was hoping for when I got it. It's what I remembered it was, but I haven't looked at it, like I said, in over a year. So I thought today was the time to, like, for one thing, get the gear out of it, and it's been sitting out back in the weather, but it's been sitting out in the weather for 30 years, so I figured one more year wasn't going to hurt anything. Anyway, we'll get it apart, find out what's inside of it, but let's just, come on over here, come on. So these are the magic numbers right here, and that 489 tells you it's a 489 case, and yeah, 489. So those are the most important numbers. I thought there was a bigger stamping on it somewhere, but that number is what matters. At least I think that's 489. Okay. And our tag up here, you can see it's a 3.2. Let's turn it the other way. So 323 or 321, I don't know. So yeah, but whether it's a posi or not, we have no idea. And I can't spin the axles, so partly because I've got it sitting on this, but whether it's an open or a posi doesn't matter. This is a good gear for Stitches, and it'll work well behind that big block. I've been up in my stash of parts upstairs looking at all of the center chunks that I have, and I've got a bunch of them. Surprisingly, I think they're all 741 cases. There's 4, 6, I don't know. There's a bunch. I also been digging around in my pile out back of stuff that I intend to get inside, and I found 4, 5, 6 different 8 3/4 housings. I only have one E-body housing right there. That's the one for Stitches that we did an episode on a year ago or something like that. And this is the only, as far as I know, this is the, there you are. This is the only one that's out of a post-70 B-body. I have 2 or 3 other B-bodies and some C-bodies and some pickups. I know I've got one back there for sure out of a 68 Roadrunner. I have one A-body housing kicking around, but the one thing I don't have is the whole point of that is I don't have chunks. and not the good ones. So I was fortunate that my buddy Dave had this one and was willing to part with it so that we can see what we've got. Hopefully everything's good inside, and well, let's just stop talking and let's do it. One of the things that I just realized is going to be a problem is I have to be able to spin those axles to get at the nuts on the end of the axles to pull the axles out. So I'm going to have to get a little creative here in figuring out a way to get this thing to turn. All my stuff is on that end, but I get more leverage this way if I could turn it here. So I think I'm going to put a big pipe wrench and just, well, I'll show you. Oh yeah, a little crunchy, but it's going. Well, I could tell if this was a posi right now. Oh my goodness, unless something's rusty inside, both axles are spinning the same way. That's a good thing. So, cool. Woo, she's crunchy inside. It could be welded, it's possible. Remember the one that was in the E-body housing was welded because it came out of a roundy-round car. It's very likely this came out of a circle track car also. So we'll see. I'm not going to prejudge, but I am going to sit here and kind of spin this over a little bit. Ow! Ow! Oh! Ow! Ow! Watch your fingers. It's not the first time today. I dropped a leaf spring on my foot earlier, so it's just going to be one of those days. You might see me bleed before the day's done. I'll try to do you proud, Daddy. It's either welded or posi because I can't make it spin, or it's rusted. All right, well, I can spin it now, so we'll just have to turn the yoke to get things to move around where I need them to. So let's get some axles out. Our axles are out. That one was stuck. Not normally beating on a backing plate that hard, but it was rusted in there, so probably from the way it was laying, water got down there. But buzz off these 12 bolts or whatever it is here. Better turn the compressor on first though. Okay, that should be all of them. There's an oil pan over here so that we can have something to make a bigger mess when it spills, because we'll knock the pan over as well, but all good. That's gear oil out of the 26 Oakland. A little bit thick, huh? Okay, there it is. There's usually a little dimple there somewhere. There it is. There's usually a little dimple there somewhere you can kind of get into. No, it's not there either. Oh, maybe there, maybe. It's definitely stuck like a stuck thing. Looks like it's almost glued on there. We get a piece of wood, give it a couple of whacks with that. I'd rather not hit that case with a hammer. Definitely got oil in it. Oh, good, it came loose. There we go. That's what I was hoping for. Just let that drip for a bit and then we'll drop it out. Definitely not the ideal way to take it apart, but when it's been sitting outside for 30 years, things are kind of rusty. You got to do what you got to do to get them apart. Obviously, you don't want to be hitting on that cast iron with anything that's solid, but that worked. So, kind of a little bit of a shade tree Captain Caveman way, but
Captain Caveman!
It worked. Nothing's broke. So it's like beating on this backing plate over here. I don't like doing that at all. I know you're not technically supposed to do that, but it was rusted and didn't have a lot of choice in there. So I suppose if I had an axle puller, but I don't have one. So you do what you got to do. It's fine. Nothing's hurt. I'm not using this rear end anyway. I just want the chunk. But okay. She's pouring out her guts and her glory. Too bad that tag is rotted like that. You know, the next step in this parade is going to be this center chunk is going to go flying. So we'll let that drip a little bit more, and then we'll just tip it up and pick it up straight. She's fairly well done dripping, so let's pick this up like this, and hopefully there we go. She was just a little cockeyed. Now she's a little cockeyed the other way. It's gonna fall off on my feet. I know it. I think I'll have to get the pan out from under there and just let gravity work. Oh, there we go. More junk on the floor. It's kind of like junk in the trunk, isn't it? There we go. Don't want to get my hat dirty. All right, let's put the board down here. Make a determination which way it's going to fall. Okay, that's the way I thought it was going to go, so it's going to go that way. So I got my board down so it'll land on that, hopefully not crack or break anything on that casting. Worked out well. Caught on a brake hose. Very good. At first blush, it might be a posi. Not sure. Kind of think it is, but we'll see. Okay, and by those springs in there, it's definitely a posi. And from what I remember, if it's got visible springs, it's a cone type posi, which technically is not supposed to be rebuildable. We know this one's definitely got some pressure. The cone type tend to slip less, but the clutch type tend to be better, from what I remember. And that's going back way, way back in my memory. It also seems like cone type, was it clutch type were up to 69 and cone type were 69 and up or something like that. And if so, if this is out of a 70, 71, or 71 and up B body, which would be the Coke bottle cars, which I think it is. That would make sense that it would be the cone type. So the gear's got rust on it, but nothing so far that I'm seeing that I'm going to be concerned about. We'll clean it up and I'm going to run it. We'll make sure the bearings are good and so forth, but it just looks like a little bit of rust from sitting around. So unless I run into something catastrophic here, I mean, what's it going to hurt? If it ruins, so what? And we'll just put a gear in it. But if I can get away with it, I'm going to try it. So, you know, spirit of the home garage here. I'm not being perfectionistic about it at all. The car's not going to see many miles every year, and, you know, a couple hundred to 1,000 or two at the most. And if it doesn't work out, we'll throw a new posi and ring and pinion in it. So they're easy to do later, and I'm trying to cut down costs right now as much as I can to get this car done. So I'm going to spin this around and find the gear ratio, make sure that it is a 323, and I'll show you that when I find it. Okay, first numbers that I saw when it came around here were this 457. I'm like, no, not another 457 gear, please. I got one of those in the GTS. It'll be a little bit too much for stitches. But right there's our number, 323. So we could look up those numbers, blah, blah, blah. Don't care. And let me clarify something here on this, just so that people don't have a meltdown here. When I said my intention was to run it, I'm not just throwing it in the car like that. I'm going to tear it down, check the bearings, you know, inspect the gear, see how bad the pitting is from the rust, clean it up, make sure that, you know, and if it's just got minor pitting, it's not going to hurt anything, so the rear end might make a little bit of noise. So it'll be thoroughly inspected. I'm certainly not putting that in the car like that and running it and expecting it to work. I have to clarify, because some people tend to just overreact to everything, so you know how it is. Would have definitely been nice had that been the clutch type of posi, but it'll work and it'll be fine. We'll get it torn apart and inspected and so forth. So next steps, I'll have to get Becky to give me a hand, but well, I can do this. This is the E-body housing here, so I want to get that in the shop. And then I have a 7 1/4 B-body unit over there I want to put on this cart, and I have the 7 1/4, excuse me, that's an 8 1/4. I have the 7 1/4 still laying under stitches from taking it apart, so I want to get that over here on the cart and figure out where I'm going to squirrel away all these rear ends here and get that taken care of. It's time to like rein things back around here a little bit outside. A lot of times I get stuff done because I have such little room in the shop. I just toss stuff outside the door, and then it kind of got to push things back and pull things back and put things away. So today will be some of that. I got a bunch of stuff and out of the Challenger over here. Just you know, all winter long, you just don't have any place to put anything, so it just gets thrown on a snow pile. And in the spring, you got to have spring cleaning. That's the fun of living out here in the middle of nowhere, because nobody cares except my wife. She kind of cares. My next little project is to get that piece of plywood up over there on the ceiling where the family of coons is living. I think I mentioned that either in an episode that just aired or in one that's coming. But anyway, I got a family of coon living up here in the ceiling, and they have been playing hell on my floor. There's a big pile of crap down there, and they've been digging holes through the ceiling. So when I get them out of here, you know, we'll just dispatch them. But I've got to... Can't put the Oakland back in here because I don't want them to fall down, boom, on top of that vinyl top car. And, you know, it's not really even vinyl. It's just a cloth. And they could, you know, ooh, that would be bad. So I'm going to put that plywood up today and get a few other things done around here and try to push the walls back a bit. So that's going to do it for this one. Got all the rear ends over and stacked up and putting a pile together so that I can deal with those now. Becky helped me move some stuff around, and I'm slowly moving stuff around outside here and kind of getting things together. So good progress, and I'm really pleased with the rear end on stitches, what we've got. So our housing is now in here. The 7 1/4 is gone. We've got our posi center chunk. I think of where I put the axles for that. I think they're in the back room. Better find those. All right, well, that's going to do it. We're over on the Instant Grandma, and we're over on the Face thing, and of course, we're here on the You thing, and all of it is just / My Car Shop. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. Hit the bell so you receive those notifications. And as I start to feel better, I will be able to make a lot more dust and get back on this. But I'm just trying to find things that I can do between. They'll just meet me where I'm at and, you know, go from there. So, all right, that'll do it. We'll catch you on the next one.